It's been about a year since Kuro announced that PGR would be undergoing a synchronization plan, and also about a year since I made a video about that. But now that the synchronization plan is ending, I think it's time to look back and give my final thoughts about this interesting era. Sort of like a general review, but it's nothing too deep. I just want to put a close to this era. Now, if you started playing PGR this year and didn't really understand what's been going on, let's do a quick rundown of the plan for one last time. So the synchronization plan is an acceleration plan where starting at the beginning of 2025, PGR will have a modified version called integrated versions, which will cram 2 to 3 versions worth of content into one, with a slight extension of the version duration going from the usual 5 to 6 weeks. This plan will last until we are fully caught up with the CN server, meaning that this current integrated version with Bianca, Crepuscule, and Veronica will be the last one. That said, with these temporary changes, various rewards will be modified based on the number of versions that's present within these integrated versions, meaning that an integrated version with 2 patches will give us double the rewards and an integrated version with 3 will give us triple the rewards. And these rewards aren't only limited to black cards from the dailies and weeklies. They also include Dorm coins, Dorm commission points, the free daily and weekly top-ups, PPK skulls, Warzone points, NRP rewards, Clash Reflection rewards, Simulation Shop currency, and login rewards. Speaking of login rewards, for the special initial sign-in event of the patch, they also have been modified with an extended period of time to make sure that you get everything that would be featured in all the patches. As for the certain discount limitations like the War Shop memory resonance, they will also be scaled depending on the number of versions that's featured within the integrated version. Then there's how they handled the debuting A-ranks. Now, as much as the featured A-ranks have always been provided in the simulation shop, the integrated version had also brought us the serum consumption event, where we're able to get additional shards, which would be enough to triple S plus the featured A rank by simply consuming serum over the course of the patch. Now, moving on to the paid content stuff. Starting with the battle pass, the free track will provide scaled rewards, and the other 2 paid tracks will have their purchase limits increased to the number of versions featured. For the limited supply packs and monthly passes, their purchase limits has also been modified based on the number of versions featured. Well, sort of. For the featured codings and coding research events, they will remain available for 2 integrated versions. And that's pretty much the fast version over how the integrated version works. I may have missed a few things, but it's a lot to get through and I'm sure you get the idea. Over the course of this year, in 2025, we were swimming in resources and rewards, and all that we have gone through is not the norm. So when the next version arrives, do not be surprised when you get less rewards, because that's the true amount that you should be getting from a standard patch. And I get it. If you are a free-to-play player, and especially if you just joined this year, this plan was essentially the golden age for you. You almost had the capability to snag almost every character that debuted in each integrated version, and the resources needed to upgrade your units, as they were basically handed to you with little effort. But on the other hand, for the spenders out there, it's been a rough time. You see, cramming 2 to 3 versions worth of paid content also means that a player who engages with the paid content would have to cram 2 to 3 versions worth of spending into one version, which is simply too much to ask out of a spender. And when you think about it, upping the buy limit doesn't seem to take that into account. And before you go out and say that you don't care about those who spend money on the game, understand that they are part of the reason why we get to enjoy this game to this day, aside from Wuthering Waves of course. But really, I just want the spenders to get something more out of this. Oh well, what really matters to me is that as long as I get my Nanami coding, I'm a happy camper. But paid content aside, I ran into a small problem that sort of grew over time when playing through these integrated versions. You see, looking back, the amount of content we needed to do in a span of 6 weeks was honestly a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the increased rewards and getting to experience the patches earlier than planned. Heck, getting Nanami Star Trail early is the highlight of my year. But let me tell you, it was a little overwhelming. By having 2 to 3 versions worth of events put into one version, I should have seen the writings on the walls, and it certainly didn't help that these events would be placed all over the 6 weeks, on top of the pressure of having to log in every day, as missing a day or even a week would hit hard during the integrated version era. Then there's the story. I am a PGR story enjoyer, but let's be real here. It's just a bunch of reading with some combat in between. Not that I mind it, but PGR's visual novel isn't the most visually stimulating visual novel out in the market. So with that in mind, I have to have a certain mindset to really take in the story. And the thing is, these stories are very long, so it will take a lot of time and mental fortitude to get through it all. Normally, I can handle going through 1 story per version, but when it comes to 2 to 3 stories, well, it's a bit harder for me to push through in order to keep up with what's going on. Even now, I have yet to complete Discord story nor Veronica's. I'm sure it's going to be good, but I don't exactly have the time or energy to tackle either at the moment. Whereas yet, I'm very much excited to see how Liv's new story will unfold, but I feel like I need to go through Discord's and Veronica's story to be up to date with everything that has happened. Now, it may seem like I'm complaining about the integrated versions, and to be fair, these issues are sort of small potatoes, but really, I just want to drive the point home that as much as the synchronization plan was an amazing time for us all with how we were showered in rewards and content, there were a few bumps in the road, though maybe it's by nature of how these versions work. That said, as much as the integrated version was the most extreme form of acceleration I've seen by far, I think that overall, it was handled well. So what can we take away from PGR's synchronization plan? To put it simply, it works, but it does come with a lot of delicate handling and considerations. For sure, I absolutely think that the paid content could have been handled better, and maybe they could have structured the schedule of events better to make the patch feel less overwhelming. But if another game were to try to execute a synchronization plan similar to what we went through, then PGR is proof enough that this could work. Just to be clear, I'm not out here saying that other games who have versions that fall behind the original release should follow PGR's example. I'm just saying that this kind of plan is just as valid as any other acceleration plan, and it might be interesting to look back on as an interesting case study. So now that the plan is over and we are completely synced with CN, what does that mean for us? First, I do think we need to establish a reasonable expectation that I've been trying to build up over the course of this year, and that is, everything that you have experienced this year up till now is not the norm, nor should you expect it to be the norm as we move on to the next patch. So with that in mind, what does it mean for us to be caught up with CN? For starters, we no longer have the advantage of clairvoyance. Being able to see into future patches was a huge blessing to the global audience, as we can better schedule how we want to manage our roles, whether it be based on meta or based on who you generally like. But now, since we're in the same place as the CN player base, we won't know what's going to happen in the future, and we'll get to experience the unknown together. Now, I am well aware that there are some global players out there who don't want to let go of their clairvoyance, and it makes sense, it's a huge advantage. And the idea that the excitement runs dry when we see the announcement of new characters ahead of time isn't that much of a big argument for losing our clairvoyance. And in retrospect, it wasn't really that much of a big deal in the first place. Like, my excitement never ran dry waiting for Nanami's Star Trail. But let's be honest here, clairvoyance is a luxury, and it was never up to us whether we should have it or not. So anyway, if we lose our clairvoyance, what do we really gain? Well, the true reason as to why this synchronization plan happened in the first place was that the devs want to align feedback of global with CN. Since we usually experience things a year behind CN, it's not exactly easy to take our feedback into account when we're experiencing a version of the game that isn't current. But now, the promise is that Kuro will be able to draw feedback from both global and CN at the same time, since we'll be experiencing the same thing moving forward. This also means that we'll have to hold Kuro more accountable in hearing everyone out. And believe you me, when it comes to the criticisms of the game, there's plenty to say. Overall, this is a very important step for the longevity of the game, as this could open new doors that could potentially evolve the game and hopefully grow the player count. In fact, I think we are already seeing that the devs are trying to experiment with ways to evolve the game, which is super exciting. The only concern I have at the moment is how they're going to weigh everyone's criticisms from different regions, as we all have vastly different takes over what the game should be like. On top of that, how will they juggle our criticisms with their design philosophy and vision for the game moving forward, since it will determine PGR's future? Like, I have so many questions about what's going to happen to the game. Like, where will the game go? What's the direction? Will the game evolve and expand beyond what it currently is? Will the issues that have been present in the game continue to exist? Or perhaps we'll see them revamp the new player experience, or we'll finally see what they're trying to do with effects, unless what we got is all we're going to get. Maybe we'll see how they could further evolve how we experience the story, or what about outside of the game? More collab events, and maybe finally they'll have an official place to sell their merch to global. There's a lot to think about, and all of it has me excited for the future. Look, I'm glad that we went through the synchronization plan, and a part of me knows that I will look back on this year and I'll definitely miss it. Like, I wish we could keep the serum consumption event for A ranks or the featured skin sticking around for 2 patches instead of 1, but it's all wishful thinking. Maybe we'll revisit these individual ideas later down the line, but I don't think it's Kuro's main priority at the moment. That said, with the synchronization plan behind us, I've had this liberating feeling that we have broken out of something that has held PGR back, and now it looks like they're planning to go a little wild with their experimentation. As the PGR team once stated before, it may be the end of an era, but it's also the beginning of a vibrant new one. So let's hold them to that. and see what they have for us moving forward. Anyway, I hope this video informs you as to why the next patch will not have as many rewards that you're used to over the course of this year, and hopefully I got you excited for the future of PGR. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, do leave a like and maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!